As that race was going on, I could just see the collective thought of the entire fan base be like, why the hell are we not racing here for the championship? And after that last lap, yeah, why are we not racing at Homestead for the championship? I know why. I mean, the facilities, guys, listen, I've been to Homestead many times. The facilities are not up to par. That's why. But as a racetrack, it is absolutely amazing. I'm going to try not to talk too much today. I am feeling unwell. My throat has been on fire for the last 2 days. So this video is probably going to be shorter. And just because I am struggling to talk right now. So we're going to talk about Homestead. I promise you, I enjoyed the race, even though it doesn't sound like I did. I enjoyed the race. It was an incredible race. I mean, that race confirmed that Homestead is the best track on the circuit for now. I mean, that was from the get-go. I was just amazed at how you can run literally anywhere on the racetrack, and if your car was working, you could make it work well. There was strategy in this race based off the stages and the length of the stages when you should pit, which allowed someone like Denny Hamlin to win stage 2 because he just pitted basically 9 laps later than the leaders, and he was able to make up the time. It was incredible. Basically all the playoff guys except for Joey Logano, because Joey Logano doesn't care about this race. Obviously, they are advanced already, but all 7 of the other playoff guys towards the end of that race were running 1 through 7. I mean, it was amazing. I don't know what it is about Homestead. Even when Homestead was the championship race, you would have the all 4 contenders usually be running 1, 2, 3, 4, like a lot of them in the top 5. I don't know what it is about Homestead. It's just like first of all, it's a driver's racetrack. Homestead is a driver's racetrack. If you don't have the car, like the fastest car, the driver can make up the difference. And I think we saw that with the winner. Apologies for my yawning. This is what happens when you are sick. My heart rate was definitely elevated on that last lap. I could feel it beating through my chest as I was watching. But yeah, just massive shout out to I think the facility, the racetrack, Homestead, Miami, NASCAR, the teams. It's just it really is an incredible racetrack, and it's actually not in the playoffs next season, which is just whatever. And guys, it's because of the facilities. I mean, Homestead, Miami, compared to a lot of other racetracks around the country, it's just not up there. You just go there and you really are only going for the race itself on the racetrack. There's nothing fan experience wise that is cutting edge or anything. I mean, everything is so dated. They haven't changed or improved literally anything at that facility since I've been going there. And my first race was 2009, which was 15 years ago, and nothing has changed. They've just removed some of the grandstands in 1 and 2, which is normal. A lot of the racetracks have done that. But I went to Phoenix in 2021, and NASCAR put a good amount of money into Phoenix. They put a good amount of money, and you go there and you see it. Whether it be Wi-Fi or fan comfort, fan experience, the fan zones around the racetrack and in the infield. Homestead has none of that. Like, if you pay for a fan zone experience, you're not really paying for anything. You just go down there and there's just nothing to do outside the racetrack. Again, other than just merchandise, there's just nothing. So it's definitely a little bit frustrating. All these years, Homestead has just not upgraded the facilities, and that's why it's not the championship race anymore. Whether that is the racetrack's decision, whether NASCAR doesn't want to put money into it, this is the perfect racetrack at the moment in terms of on the track. It doesn't get better. I mean, this race was genuinely, in terms of racing, if you had a complaint about this race, you don't like racing. Like, genuine, that's just my honest truth to you. If you had a complaint about the race car, the racetrack, something about that race, in terms of, something NASCAR could have done differently, you don't enjoy racing. That race from lap 1 to lap 267, if it was 267, I'm not entirely sure, but that usually is the race distance. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. You could run by the wall, you could run on the white line, you could drive it in deep and do a slide job, you can then mess up the slide job, you can run the middle, you could run a lane off the bottom, you could enter high, lift early, and then cut down the racetrack. Like, it was what an amazing racetrack. And just, again, it goes to show you what you can do with off throttle time. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like Homestead is the one racetrack out of everyone that you have the most off throttle time. Like once you enter the corner, these drivers are off the throttle for a very long time, and you have obviously the worn out surface, but it's not like insanely worn out. You know, Kansas is at a similar level. I feel like it's not like incredibly worn out or anything. It's just a perfect racing facility, and it's everything that I feel like NASCAR fans complain for and want. This racetrack has. It has the off throttle time, so that way the dirty air is not as significant. You do have to run a different line, but because you're off the throttle, you can change it. And yeah, well, what do you guys think? I just think it's absolutely perfect. We're gonna jump over to the race results because I simply can't keep talking. You guys can tell I am struggling right now. You can see all of the playoff guys except for Kyle Larson and Joey Logano end up finishing in the top 6. Reddick, Blaney, Hamlin, Bell, Elliott, and Byron. And we were, the fun thing about this is that points was not even being thought of. I don't know if you think that's fun, but Reddick, Blaney, Hamlin, you know, other than Bell, Elliott, they all needed a win. So when they were restarting 1 through 4, what is it with being sick and yawning all the time? Oh my god, I'm not even tired. I'm just sick. They restarted 1 through 4, and they all had to go for the win. You know, they were all going for the win. Bell comes home in 4th. We're going to talk about him a little bit more when we get to the point standings. Kyle Larson ended up finishing in 13th. He was going for the win with 10 to go, but he just pulled off a move that I didn't think he needed to pull off. You know, Ryan Blaney was trying to lap Austin Dillon, and Larson just didn't need to do it. I mean, I felt like he should have known that Blaney was not going to just go straight to the white line or anything. He was going to try and run, you know, a lane off of the wall. And yeah, Larson just tries fitting it into this gap. He wanted to fit it in the gap to clear Dillon and get to the wall quickly and stay on the outside of Blaney, but you had 10 laps, and I feel like he was the faster car. He did not need to do that. So a real big missed opportunity by Kyle Larson, because not only does he not win the race because of that, and he brings up the caution, ends up finishing 13th, but now he enters Martinsville below the cutoff line because Tyler Reddick won. So, you know, I just thought that was unnecessary. And it's no one's fault other than his. And I think Larson is definitely guilty of being too aggressive. You know, Larson is the best race car driver here. We all know this. But Larson does end up crashing more often than not because of aggressive moves. And he can win races because of it. But I feel like the majority of the time he has to push things a little bit too far. It doesn't result in a race win, and it actually results in him crashing. and so that is what happened here, is that he ended up spinning out, and then because he spun out, the rear diffuser, there was a flap on there that deployed while he was spinning, and so the pit crew had to put that flap back down, which made him lose 9 positions on pit road. So just you know, your actions have consequences, and unfortunately for Larson, I just felt like he could have not tried to blitz that gap, stayed behind Blaney, cleared Austin Dillon, and then you had 10 laps to go to work and try to pass him at a track that you have so many opportunities to make that pass, and if you are faster, you can definitely do it. And so yeah, very unfortunate for Larson fans, because he also goes to a racetrack in Martinsville that's not technically one of his best racetracks, even though Martinsville doesn't have the tricks that it used to have, because the next gen car has kind of eliminated that. What I mean by that is, like, you would have certain drivers that go to Martinsville, Roush Fenway drivers, Roush Fenway fans, you know what I'm talking about here. If you went to Martinsville, you'd be like, why the hell does my driver always run 15th? Like, what is it here? There were guys like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin. Like, those guys were so good at Martinsville with the older generation of cars. But now at Martinsville, if you have the speed, it kind of has negated those tricks that you would learn at Martinsville in terms of the driving style and how to drive Martinsville. Now everyone kind of just does the same thing, and the car stops really well and it turns really well, and it has kind of nullified, you know, driver advantage at Martinsville. So Larson, if they have a fast car, yeah, he can win at Martinsville. But, you know, for a race for Las Vegas and for Homestead, if you said Larson with a 33-point advantage that he had would now be -7 entering Martinsville, that would be like, well, something's really had to go wrong there. And they did. You know, he did have a flat tire in stage 2. It cost him stage points because of that, you know. Thought it might have damaged the car, but obviously towards the end of the race, it didn't damage the car. He was still just, maybe it damaged it a little bit, but he was, you know, still driving the heck off that thing. It was in contention to win. So a little bit of bad luck, but also a little bit of driver mistake, and that leaves Larson where he is. And yeah, Joe Logano doesn't, you know, he doesn't even care. He finished in 28th. And let's go to the point standings. You can see here Tyler Reddick and Logano are in. Christopher Bell, same thing as I was saying last week. I thought he would be better today. He was out of, you know, Reddick, Elliott, Blaney, you know, Hamlin. Bell was slower than I thought he would be. I thought he would be right there with Reddick and Larson. I was like, all right, this is going to be a three-way battle. And then Chase Elliott showed a lot of speed, and I was like, oh, okay. And then Bell just kind of fell back almost immediately, and I was like, oh, that's very weird. So I was a little bit surprised by Christopher Bell's performance. He still finishes 4th, still has an incredible average finish for the entire playoffs, but I just thought he was going to be better today, and he just wasn't. He was kind of off the pace today in terms of, you know, racing for the win. However, he goes in plus 29, and this is exactly what I said last week. It's like, I actually don't mind Joey Logano winning if I'm Christopher Bell, because I just don't believe Logano is going to have the speed at Phoenix. Will he be able to do something? You know, they have 2 weeks to work on his car. Maybe he'll bring enough speed. That 22 team has not had enough speed all season. Literally every single race this season, Logano has not had enough speed. He has won his races via strategy, via luck, and via fuel mileage. Logano has not been competing for wins. So Bell is entering Martinsville plus 29. I mean, he isn't, even if Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, and Elliott, one of them win, he still has 22 points on William Byron. And I would be, if I was him and his team, I would be very comfortable with the position that he is in. Just don't have a bad day at Martinsville, run top 10, and you will be okay. Genuinely, if you just run top 10, you will be okay. Hamlin's not going to catch you on points. Blaney's not going to catch you on points. Elliott's not going to catch you on points. Larson is 35 behind, I think. No, he's he's 35 behind on points. 36 actually, 36 behind on Christopher Bell. So again, even Larson's probably not going to catch you on points. Just, you have a 22-point gap to Byron. Maybe one of those guys underneath the line wins, but Christopher Bell's in a really good position points-wise heading in to Martinsville. William Byron consistent. He ends in 4th. And yeah, Denny Hamlin can point his way in, and I would not be surprised if Denny Hamlin runs really well in Martinsville and maybe even wins a stage or two. It's going to be about what can William Byron do, what can Kyle Larson do, what can Blaney and Elliott do. I think Hamlin's going to be strong, but 18 points on Byron is going to be tough, because let's just say, for example, Hamlin finishes top 3 in the stage. You would probably assume Larson and or Byron is right there with them. Hendrick Motorsports at Martinsville, usually very strong. Ryan Blaney did win Martinsville last season. He definitely showed a lot of speed here today. Can they pull out something at Martinsville? What I will say is Logano, I'm going to counteract myself because it just came to my mind. Logano did have speed at Richmond, and he did have a lot of speed at Richmond. Ken Penske for Ryan Blaney, a short track package, coming to Martinsville, can they bring something similar to what Joe Logano had at Martinsville, or at Richmond, and was incredibly fast there? Denny Hamlin also was very fast at Richmond. He has been very fast at basically all the short tracks. However, Bristol in the playoffs, he was not very excellent there. So we'll see how this goes. Martinsville is going to be fascinating. It's going to be a really interesting race. I'm hoping it's going to be a great race. We have not had a great Martinsville race with a next-gen car. We've not had that. So I do hope that the next-gen car can deliver at Martinsville. All the signs point that the car will struggle at Martinsville, and it won't be, as fireworks as we want it to be. However, let's just wait and see. Right now, Reddick is in. Bell, I think Bell is probably in. I would have to probably go with Kyle Larson to make it. I think Larson and that 5 team will run well enough, and they will run a little bit better than Byron, that maybe they won't win, but I do think that Larson can point his way in. Now, then it depends who wins the race. Will it be Hamlin, Blaney, or Elliott to leapfrog those guys, or will Larson be able to point his way in? It will be very fascinating to see how that goes. But as of now, you know, I'm pretty confident with my picks. My picks were Reddick, Bell, Larson, and Hamlin. I have Reddick and Bell almost basic. Well, Reddick is in, Bell is almost in, and then Larson and Hamlin. I don't think both of them make it. So we'll see which one misses out there. Well, no, they can't make it. Logano's in. Oh, my brain is fried. Guys, I'm going to end it there because my throat is on fire. What do you think of the race at Homestead? I should be back to 100% by Martinsville next week. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow. If I'm talking like this, I think I'll be able to record. It'll just be monotoned a little bit, but should be able to record. So take care of yourselves. What do you guys think of the race? In your comments down below. I'm giving this race a 10 out of 10. I genuinely, this race, if you did not like this race, I don't know what to tell you. This race had everything for you as a NASCAR fan, as a race fan. It had an incredible last lap battle. And yeah, I mean, just real quick on that last lap battle, just talk about it, because I was actually very surprised that Denny Hamlin got passed in 3 and 4 and then in 1 and 2. I was very shocked by that. I wasn't surprised that Blaney passed him. I was like, okay, maybe he'll get a run. But then when Reddick passed him, I was like, that was weird. I did not think that would happen to Hamlin. So, and then, yeah, I think Reddick just made an incredible move. I think you saw Blaney looking in his mirror, and he probably thought that Reddick was going to go to the bottom. But Reddick took the gamble and just said, I'm going to pin it around the outside. And we've seen Larson do that as well. He did it at Kansas. He pinned it around the outside, and so Blaney said he thought he got it in. He drove it in hard, but Reddick just drove it in harder and was able to get the car to grip on that outside lane. So we saw Larson do it at Kansas. We see Reddick do it at Homestead. It's a dirt driver thing, man. They know how to get towards that wall, and I think it caught Blaney by surprise. I thought maybe, you know, Blaney probably thought if I run by the wall, Reddick is going to either wall me because he could. I'm going to give him the advantage. If he goes below me, he can put me in the wall. He can do something. So let me control my own fate a little bit and just go a lane lower. And even if I could try and block him or something, right? But then when he gets around the outside and Blaney tries getting back on the gas, but Reddick was, I mean, it was just an incredible final corner by Reddick. Just amazing racing. So 10 out of 10 race in my opinion. 10 out of 10 race win. Move by Tyler Reddick. It's an incredible racetrack. Hopefully the championship race, first of all, hopefully there is no championship race anymore in the near future. I think it's really stupid that there is a championship race, but the final race should be Homestead, Miami. It's the best racetrack, and it's not going to be the best racetrack forever. Eventually, the track is going to need to get a repave, and eventually it's going to lose that mystique and that aura of being the best racetrack. So why not, while you can, take advantage of the best racetrack you have? Get the facilities upgraded, man. Get the facilities upgraded, and come on, this racetrack is amazing. It needs to be the final race. It needs to be in the playoffs. It's not in the playoffs next year. It's just crazy. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.